You're listening to Funny Peculiar with Jeff Downs.
Welcome to another episode of Funny Peculiar Podcast. Thanks for downloading, thanks for sharing. I'll keep posting on Instagram and Facebook who my guest, who's coming up, who we've seen, and any reviews, please do leave those on the website or comments, or email me. You can at the Funny Peculiar Podcast email address, which I'll give you now because I can't remember it. It's funnypeculiarpodcast@gmail.com, or leave a message on Instagram or get me through Facebook. Anyway, this week we have another magician, and he's called Magik Ash. If you want to follow him on Instagram, you can. It's Magik, and that's MAGIK_Ash, ASH, and the same for Facebook. I'll give you all his bio, and it'll be on the iTunes bit when it all gets loaded up. So have a look at his account as we chat away, see all his great tricks, his great pictures, and he's got some clips on there. But anyway, without further ado, let's get to it. And as I caught up with Magik Ash on Funny Peculiar Podcast. So welcome to another episode of Funny Peculiar Podcast, and I'm here today with a fantastic act, a magician called Magik Ash. So, but I won't call you that all through the podcast. So, hello Ash.
Hello.
How you doing? You all right?
Yeah, I'm not too bad. You?
Not too bad. So, and we were just talking earlier again. Your route into, I was saying to other performers, it's an interesting way how you get into what you love and how you start. And with me, it's comedy. It's seeing someone. How did you get into magic? What as a child, was it something you watched on television?
Well, since I was about 5, I've always wanted to be like an actor or just an entertainer in general. But then it was only when I was 15, one of my stepbrother's friends was doing a magic show, and as soon as I saw it, I got hooked, and I started buying like trick decks and different magic tricks, and then I would just buy a normal deck of cards and then just work out different magic tricks, and then buying a lot of books. So I've not always been into magic, but it was since I was 15 that's when I got hooked. And
at the moment that's you do that sort of full time, and you're out there doing magic.
Yeah.
Do you do any other bits and pieces involved with Monster Circ here?
I mean, I work with one of the acts doing leather work, but that is just something completely different in general, and that is literally more of a hobby and an apprenticeship really, but it's something that I enjoy doing, and it keeps me busy, and I'm learning new skills every week. So
yeah, no, that's great. Well, that's something we just dip into later on, because again, and it's such a setup you got here. There's all sorts going on. There's like an effects studio at the back where you build stuff, and I know Jay's involved with that, and you guys are all building the leather work, and it looks great. So it's connected. So that's brilliant. We'll chat about that later. So magic is, and I've seen your pictures. So you're a bit of so there's lots of different facets of magic and in the magic world, and you seem to card or close-up magic as it's known.
Yeah.
So what is close-up magic? Is this just anything with cards, or it can be props as well?
It could be anything. Literally, I work mainly with cards because I've been studying cards since I got into magic, but it is literally just props, like coins, pieces of string, bottles, cans, and literally any object that I can find that I can perform in front of people, like right in their very face, and I can have like one-on-one conversations with them and show them a thing or two, and I would say I prefer close-up magic more than stage magic, because I've been doing it a lot longer, but it's also you meet people more easier.
Yeah,
if that makes sense.
No, that's good. And because I think magic can be very intimate, can't it?
Yeah.
People, is that sort of what you like to go for?
I do it mainly for like reactions, and like for a moment you can make someone's day, and you can like and possibly change their life, considering like someone just showed me a magic trick and then it's just changed my life completely, and that's what I kind of want to do. I want to make people feel a feeling that they've never really felt, if that makes any sense. So I just want people to think that maybe what they believe isn't possible, could be possible.
Yeah. to get that illusion of because it's all in our back of the minds. It's all like, well, it's just this is just a trick, but we're never. We're always childlike about it, aren't we? And we want to believe. And so, what's one trick can you remember, perhaps, that you've just had this amazing reaction from a particular person? Is there anything one that stands out?
Yeah, the magician that got me into magic, he did a trick on Spanish TV, and it's been a trick that I've been like dying to learn for years and years and years, and it's only like probably the last year or so I actually figured it out. And to be honest, when I figured it out, I was a bit disappointed because I knew how the trick was done, but at the same time I was excited because that way I could perform it to other people and make them wonder. And it was basically a trick where he gets a signed like banknote, and then folds up and then makes it disappear, and then it appears inside of a lemon.
Right.
And that was a trick that literally got me hooked for years, and then once I figured it out, I practiced, and now I do it in my stage show.
And that's the one that people are just...
Yeah, that's probably my favourite trick. That's probably the one that gets the best reactions, but it's also, I try and make it more funny. Try and put more character into the trick.
So when you find a trick... So what's the code with magicians then, with sharing tricks, or do you have to work it out for yourself, or do you get hints? Do they sort of go, well, you might need a lemon and you might need this, or how does that all work? Without giving too much away.
Like with magicians, it's really strange because like you get some magicians who just will not show anything, but then kind of in the magic community, it's not really a competition. Like magicians love other magicians, and so they actually want to teach you. Like, so they're more interested in showing you how it's done than actually doing the trick itself. Yeah, because
I've done character comedy. There's a competitive element to that, and you want to do kind of better than the next. You think you're better than the next person, but we're all doing the same thing, which is entertaining. Yeah. But so with magicians, you could be watching someone on stage and going, well, he hasn't quite got that right, or she's not quite done that right. I'll tell her afterwards. And so there's a sort of more sharing feeling to it.
It's. I mean, like probably like back in the 18th century, it was more of a competition, and like magicians would literally like try and do more death-defying tricks to outstage the other one. But now it's just. You do it more for the entertainment than anything. So if I went to go and see a magician live, and I saw something that was like not off, but something that they could think about, like a different way of performing it, then I would share with them, and then I'll tell them that I'm a magician.
Has that
myself.
happened? Have you done that?
Yeah. I went to go and see a magician years ago called Chris Dugdale, who's very big, who's on Penn and Teller Fool Us. I told him everything that I liked about the show, and then I got the chance to show him a bit of magic, and I had a beer with him afterwards, and it was really nice. But I couldn't really think of anything that I could say about his performance that was bad. Like I couldn't, I couldn't make it any better if I tried.
And what happens when two magicians sit down and have a beer? Is it magic talk? Does it drift off? Comedians are very much talk about comedy, but is it constantly sharing ideas?
Yeah, I mean it's. I mean, like, I haven't got like a lot of friends who are magicians. I've got like a few, but the ones who are that do it as an actual job, like full time, that's when you literally just talk about magic for a few hours, and you show each other different tricks and different ways of performing it, and then like you just practice in front of each other. I know it sounds weird. But it's literally like two grown men like just playing with cards at a bar.
And are you doing your patter as well? Because obviously you've got lines.
Yeah.
You've got a script. Is that something you have to work on as well?
When I do stage magic, I do, because like I tell more jokes than anything when I'm doing stage magic. I'd say like my stage show is, in a 45-minute show, is probably like actually 40% magic tricks. The rest of it is just comedy and just just playing around sort of thing, just having fun with the audience. But when I'm doing close-up magic, I'm literally just being myself.
Right, okay, so you can relax back into it and enjoy it a bit more for yourself.
Yeah, exactly.
And then so when you say do a set on stage for 45 minutes, how much preparation is there in prepping the tricks and your costume or whatever you...
Oh, well, normally I just wear a suit, unless it's like a different sort of gig sort of thing. So if it's like an alternative gig, then I'll probably put on some face paint or something like that just to get more into the atmosphere. But I'll set up my tricks, and it'll take me about 20 minutes just to set up the tricks, and the rest is probably like another 40 minutes just to calm my nerves sort of thing, because it is nerve-wracking getting on stage and doing it, but I enjoy it. I enjoy bringing people on stage and asking. And the thing is, like, a lot of it is scripted, but then a lot of it can't be helped, because you do have to bring people on stage and ask them like what you do as a job and try and think of funny ways to.
Cool. Yeah.
So it's a lot of thinking on the spot, but it is a lot of preparation as well. And
do you get heckled at all for like people? Someone will be like, "That's not real," or have you ever had that where? Or
I've never actually been like properly heckled for a magic show, but I did a comedy gig and a guy heckled me.
What did he say? Can you remember that? Or if it's, I don't want to take you to a bad space. It's like,
I think I got the last laugh in the end, because he was he stood up and made a complete fool out of himself. And he told me that I wasn't funny and that I was inadequate. If I could say that.
Right.
And I don't know how he knew that, but then I found out that he was sat next to my ex-girlfriend, and this is my ex-girlfriend's new guy.
Right. Okay.
But that night they broke up, and then me and her had a couple of drinks, and let's just say I had the last laugh then. I don't want to be that guy, but like...
Yeah, no, but then there's always, I suppose... In any sort of performance, it's the risk you take. But it's always, I don't know, especially with that type of stuff, guys have always got to shout out, haven't they?
Yeah,
just feel that it's part
but
of
normally,
it.
like, sometimes I do enjoy hecklers because it makes you think on the spot sort of thing. Sure. But I try not to be too bad about it. I try to be more of a good guy about it and try and make it more funnier.
Yeah.
Like if someone said something, I would just say... I'll just ask them their name, and once they've told me their name, I normally say, sorry, when I was reading the script, I don't remember seeing your name pop up so much. So that way I keep the rest of the audience kind of on my side. But then again, if anyone does heckle, then they've just wasted money to see a show, and I just don't get hecklers, to be honest.
Well, exactly. Well, you're just charging to the end of a performance, so you can...
Exactly,
I'm off. So, and when you're doing on stage, have you ever had sort of like, because I'm thinking, what happens if you get halfway through a trick and it's like, oh, I've forgotten to put that card in my shit, or how do I get out of it? Have you had something go a bit wrong, sort of?
Not on stage. I try my best not to mess up too much on stage. But doing close-ups, like, because I'm just so used to doing like a normal routine, if I try like adding a new trick into it, then I do forget something, but it's just more of a challenge because you just have to think on the spot sort of thing. And sometimes I'll just change the trick entirely.
Yeah, right.
But either way, I'll try and make it look like I've not gone wrong whatsoever.
Yes.
I've once, like, I think it was one of my first shows doing close-up magic, and I was probably about 15, and I literally just dropped the entire deck of cards.
Oh, no.
And all I said was, sorry, that's the first time that's ever happened to me again. And then the person started laughing, and I just picked up the cards, and they gave me a hand with the cards, and I just carried on doing magic. So I try not to let it bring me down, and if something does go wrong midway through, then I do just try and change up.
Yeah.
And if I can, I will try again to do that trick.
Sure. Well, I think speaking to other performers, anytime that we think something goes wrong, invariably the audience don't know, because you cover it, and then by the time it's gone, it's past, and it's all part of the show, isn't it? So.
Yeah. That's why I try and put comedy into it. Just
Yes, yeah. Well, it does. Well, I think, and also there is that. See, and I think with magic there is that element of comedy, isn't it? There are. I think as you say, when you go back to whatever 18th, 19th century, you had your very traditionalist, serious magicians, but slowly there's been a sort of vaudeville, cabaret side to magic, isn't there?
And then you've got like Tommy Cooper, who literally became famous from making mistakes.
Yeah.
And if I make a mistake, as long as the audience are laughing, I'm not bothered.
That's the main thing.
But if I can turn it around, then I'll do my best.
And you mentioned Penn and Teller earlier, and they're huge. Been successful around for years. And I remember when they did, they started to do some shows where they showed how tricks worked, didn't they? And there was also, I don't know if you remember, there was in America that masked.
And Magic's Biggest Secrets.
That's it. On when early cable channels were coming through here, and he exposed quite a bit. So how do you sort of view those magicians, and when something gets exposed like that?
So I'm very two ways about it, because if I do a trick and he exposes it, I'm not very too happy about it, because I've been practicing for hours and hours and years and years, and then he just goes and tells everyone how it's done. However, it is again like a challenge. It's you can try and do the same trick but in a different way. So I've once done it and someone tried to catch me out on it, but then the way they saw it done wasn't the same way that I did it. Yeah. So it confused them even more. Right. Even though it was the same effect. Right. If that makes sense. Yeah. I'm sometimes I'll like reveal just small tricks that I learnt from like my granddad or something like that when I was like young, like everyone does. Or I'll reveal just like a normal card trick that I just don't do. I don't think any other magician will do it, sort of thing. Yeah. But normally I'm not one of these magicians that tell people how it's done, unless the person is a magician, and then we can talk and have a beer after, sort of thing. But I'm not keen on people revealing tricks, but at the same time, if they want to, then I'll just make magicians work harder, and magicians will just advance more to coming up with tricks that can't be revealed.
Sure. And you were saying about your granddad, you would perhaps show, but as in our parents would show tricks and little. Is there any history of magicians in your family?
No,
you're the first one.
I'm the first one.
And how did your parents feel about that, or family in general?
At the start they knew it was a hobby, sort of thing, and they just and because I've got ADHD, I think they found it kind of a relief that I've settled with a hobby, sort of thing. But at the same time, whenever I'd learn a new magic trick, I was 15 at the time, so I'd go up to my mum while she's cooking and get her to pick a card, sort of thing. But at the same time, I live with my dad at the moment, just so I can save up on money, and he pushes me to do more with magic because he knows that's what I want. But I'll always make the joke saying magicians and students and being in university are kind of pretty much the same thing. Is basically you're unemployed but your parents are still proud of you.
Yeah. And with the ADHD, was the magic a way of controlling it or helping?
In a way, it didn't really help when I had homework at school, sort of thing. So because I'll start my homework and then I'll just see a deck of cards, and I still do it when I'm sorting stuff out, or if I'm at work and I see a deck of cards or a coin or just something on a shelf there, and I'll just start playing with the cards, showing random people some card tricks and stuff. But that's kind of the good thing about because I work weekends at a nightclub. Sure. And my managers love the fact that I do magic. So when it's quiet, I will just go around, show people some magic, and just kind of promote myself a little bit more.
Well, that's got to be a bonus, isn't it? So
it's good that I get paid to do magic at my actual job.
Yeah, why not? And so, and you're always developing new ideas as well. So how do you keep your act fresh? How do you kind of look for new tricks?
To be fair, I go on Facebook a lot. I'm constantly on Facebook, and sometimes like, I'll see magicians do a trick, and I'm like, oh, that's quite cool. But if I performed that trick, I would perform it this way and make this kind of joke about it.
Do you have to kind of disguise it and make it your own?
No.
Because will a magician come up to you and go, hang on a minute, that's my trick, I've seen you nick that off?
Yes and no. I mean, like, there's in the community of magicians, people will, I don't know, like, a lot of magicians sell their tricks, sort of thing. Like, you go to magic shops and stuff like that. But just because one magician did a trick doesn't mean that another magician can't do it, sort of thing.
Sure.
But
so ownership's quite difficult.
Yeah,
copyright.
Like sometimes like the trick can be good, but it's just the way you perform it, sort of thing. Like there was a magician years and years ago called Robert Houdin, who said like a quote that's like been passed down from magician to magician, saying like a magician is just an actor who plays a magician. And to me, I get it, but at the same time, I don't want to play a magician because I am a magician. I just want to be myself, sort of thing.
Cool.
So I do try my best to just be myself and just relax, have a little banter, like have a little patter, sort of thing. But like I think the trick is better if you perform it right. If you perform it in a way that's never been performed before. I mean, if I like copy a magician's jokes and I do their trick line by line, then sure, they can come up to me and tell me that's their way of performing. Like Penn and Teller, they do like the cup and balls with see-through cups, and they just reveal the trick, but they do it so well. But like, I can't see another magician pulling it off like they can.
Is there anything you won't do? Because again, as in there's that old Paul Daniels style with pigeons coming out and rabbits out of hats. Is that seen as quite old and old-fashioned, and you want to do a new wave of magic, or?
There's not something like I will try everything. It depends, like if audience want to see it, and if I enjoy, like imagine if there was like a graph sort of thing, I'd want to be at the point where I enjoy performing it and people want to see it, sort of thing. But all tricks are never really bad. Like they can be improved, sort of thing. Like pigeons and doves, and like magicians still use animals to this day, like especially on cruise ships.
Yes. There's not like with circuses now, they tend to be all human, and there's like a non-fashion, or there's a sort of a kickback against using our animals, but not really with...
Well, no, I mean, if you think about it, they are pets. Like it's not like they're actually trapped or anything, like, because the magician that got me into magic, he works with doves, and I've never seen anyone take care of birds so well.
Right, okay.
So there's no like animal cruelty or anything like that, and
of course he's got them to sign the contract as
well.
Exactly.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so and that's again, you see. So again, it's when they're doing that, there'll be hidden compartments. It's just all part of, or it's all sleight of hand, basically.
To be honest, I don't even know. I don't work with birds. I think like sometime in the future, when
that could be
if I'm working on cruise ships, that's when I'll probably get the birds out. But at the moment, I'll just stick with cards and straitjackets and stuff like that.
Fine. And you do a little bit of escapology.
I do. I've got in my stage show, I do like two kind of circus act kind of tricks, which is basically a straitjacket escape and a trick called the human blockhead, which you hammer like a nail into your nose. Okay, right.
And the straitjacket one, how did you get into that? Not literally, but somebody's got to climb. So is that something you think, I'll give that a go? I like.
To be honest, I think I was drunk and I just bought a straitjacket online. I think I was drunk and I watched a video. I think a video popped up on YouTube saying like magician gets out of straitjacket, And
you just were like,
I went. I think I went on eBay and bought a straight jacket for about £70.
right. Okay.
I don't remember doing it, but I remember seeing the purchase history and then a straight jacket arriving on my doorstep.
And that was like right.
Yeah, and so
treading over empty
yeah,
wine.
it was difficult to practice because you can't actually get in the straight jacket by yourself.
Well, you need someone there.
Yeah, exactly. But I've got 2 older brothers, so they were more than happy to put me in a straight jacket.
And you see, and of course with that particular act, or that particular act, and you ask someone on stage to do it, you can always see the burly guy only too willing to pull the straps in his way. So that's but there's obviously a trick to, and don't reveal, I don't want to get you into trouble, so there's a trick to obviously making sure that you can get out. Has there been a time when you couldn't get out of it?
No, like it's very straightforward. Like, to be honest, like I think the straight jacket I have is, I think a lot of magicians use it, and it's well, not my one particularly, but you know, their own. But that's style of straight jacket. It's the
one with buckles, is it?
Yeah, it's like made of canvas or something.
Yes,
and it's got like buckles. However, it's like, it is tight, but as long as you like, it is easy to get out of. And sure. I'll like, if people ask if I can teach them to get out of it, I'll more than happy.
Yeah, right. Okay.
It's something that they can say, and they can like tell their friends and be like, oh yeah, I can get out of a straight jacket. But like, if they go to a mental institute, then the straight jackets are totally it's not. That's not on me.
So do you think there could be classes of showing people how to, or you just do it? It's a one-on-one sort of.
I don't even know how I think I just figured it out, and then like I would just get back in the straight jacket and just do it over and over again, try and beat my time, and then.
And is that part of the act? Because I think you put a clock on it, don't you?
So like on stage, I normally get people to like clap along, or I put some music on while I'm in the straight jacket. But I normally try and do it to like a minute, because I'm confident.
You can do that.
Because like the shortest time I've ever gotten out of it is like 24 seconds.
Wow.
So I'm pretty confident that I can get out under a minute.
Brilliant.
So, but like when I'm on stage, I try and drag it out to about 50 seconds. And then when people are like counting down the last 10 seconds, that's when I'm like, oh, okay, I should probably hurry. But I do try and drag it out on stage. But like sometimes it is difficult because like I do get like because I get like the 2 biggest guys in the audience to put me in a straight jacket, and sometimes I do it to like the last buckle, and it does hurt, and you know, once you get out of it, it is very exhausting.
It's satisfying.
It's nice, but it's like afterwards, like, because you have to pull it over your head, like so like my hair's like all like my head's all sweaty and I'm completely red because it is exhausting to get out of one, but it's worth it considering that everyone literally like gives you a standing ovation with a straight jacket escape sort of thing.
Because it's so physical as well.
It's pretty much the most exercise I do.
And you don't have to have like Mel Gibson in Lethal Weapon, like dislocate your shoulders. I always use that reference because the only other time I've seen someone supposedly you don't need to be double jointed. No, it's quite a physical.
Yeah, like I said, I normally, like, if someone asks me to teach them to get out of a straight jacket, then I'll teach them how to do it.
Well, why not? Why not?
Yeah.
And one last question before we go, and I always ask this on the podcast: is who do you think I should interview for Funny Peculiar?
A magician that I'm talking to at the moment. He travels around. He travels around filming other magicians. But he's a really nice guy, and his name's Adam Lee Casper, or Adam Casper Lee.
Okay.
I think it's Adam Lee Casper.
Sure.
Yeah, yeah. I talked to him on the phone, so I don't really talk to him on Facebook, but I think his name's Adam Lee Casper. I recommend him. He's a brilliant magician.
Fantastic.
He can definitely entice a crowd.
Brilliant. I'll track him down. Ash, thank you very much for today.
Thank you.
I appreciate your time. Thank you for coming on Funny Peculiar. And
You've been listening to Funny Peculiar. Tune in next week. More great guests.
So a big thank you to Magik Ash, and thanks for coming on the show again. If you want to follow him, you can on Instagram. That's Magik_Ash, and that's Magik, or you can get him on Facebook under the same name. We've got more great guests coming up. Please keep subscribing, please keep downloading, and please keep sharing. Thank you very much, and we'll see you next week.